A shout out to Ge.Holla.
Hey, Ge.Holla, G.Holla.
Hero, Ge.Holla. Charlemagne the God here, man.
All y'all said entertainer, shout out my guy Ge.Holla of My Celebrity Life.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, man. You know, we just find some of the dopest individuals. So some of the most divine light, some of the not buried, but planted seeds. Sometimes when you think that you're buried, you've really been planted by God, the universe, whatever your acronyms or whatever you want to use, your verbs, your nouns to describe, the prime source created by whatever means. That's cool with me. I'm down with it all. Ladies and gentlemen, today, man, we got a super cool human being. I mean, this young man is set to prove them wrong. And sometimes you need to prove folks wrong and prove yourself wrong too, because you be wrong about yourself. You be greater than what you can ever imagine because of this limited perspective that we call life and reality. And we think that this is the be. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sir Esquire, Mr. Andrew. What's going on with you, young man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great, man. Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. If we may, I want to jump into your story because I think people's storytellers should be told by their own tongue and by their own hands because you'll be a famous man and they'll make a Lifetime movie and they'll just mess it all up. So we got to make sure we get all that. Where you from originally, Mr. Andrew?
Jamaica. I was born and raised in Jamaica. I was basically brought up by my grandparents, and pretty much I was raised without a father, like a lot of us are, and took my journey from there to the US with the hopes of doing great things, which wasn't seemed to be that way, but I had to improvise all my life and making decisions as on the fly, basically.
I like that divine intuitive knowledge. Something inside of you has been pulling you. A lot of times you think you're going towards your destination, but really it's like a magnet and you're being called or drawn to it. But tell us more about your story. Give us some ups and downs that you would like to share. No pressure. What's some things?
No problem. Yeah. Because the book basically Proving Me Wrong is about my journey, how I've always had to be proving somebody wrong. And I don't even know why it's after writing this book got me to understand that that's why the book was called that, because it's like, I'm thinking back, I'm like, man, all my life, ever since I was like 11 years old, I would prove my grandparents wrong, prove my mom wrong, prove my father. I'm like, why I have to be doing all of this proving to anybody, and especially the people so close to my life, So it was just basically that, because I won't talk about the entire book, but like my first main disappointment was my grandmother promised me something after I did this test and I never got it. And that was a disappointment that led me to start looking out very keenly that everyone in my life going to be disappointed in me. And it just seemed that way. Leaving Jamaica with the hopes of joining my father in New York City and getting there till he's saying, you're not living with me, you're going to New Jersey in a studio apartment. I'm like, what? Then I said, what are you going to do with your life? I'm going to go to college. No, I'm not paying for that. I'm like, what? So no, I'm just by myself. Then my sister was supposed to be there. She's like, man, I'm moving moving from Jersey to Louisiana to go be with a man. So leave me and my brother just stranded. We like, what? So it was just like the ups and downs of being disappointed and have all the disappointments that's coming throughout my life. And then my uncle, that was the mainstay in my life, he basically said, you know what, you're going to join the Marines. I was like, man, I want to do that. Then we went to the recruiting station. I ended up joining the Navy instead. Did that, been here just 3 months, got shipped outside Chicago for boot camp, then got stationed in California on an aircraft carrier. From there, end up in the Persian Gulf as a 19-year-old in the Persian Gulf on an aircraft carrier, new to the US, totally just over my head, witnessing a whole bunch of stuff happening so fast. And life just happened really fast for me. The moment I got here, it was just one of those things. And then from then, everything just kept roller coasting up and down, up and down. And that was just what it was,
And thank you for sharing that. That's a powerful testimony for others, because a lot of us won't know what it's like to come from another country and to, a whole entire new country, language barriers, even though it's kind of English, but still, it's still language barriers, cultural barriers. And then
Yeah,
you're just thrown from, basically one ship to another ship, to be honest with you.
yeah, basically.
You know,
And I just say language barrier, even though we speak English, if any basketball fans out there, and then they remember Patrick Ewing when he played for the Knicks, the early part of Patrick Ewing's career when he was playing for Georgetown, that he never gave interviews. And when he stopped playing for the Knicks, he rarely gave interviews. And a lot of people are like, why is that? Because he said when he came up from Jamaica, he left Jamaica at 14, I think. And he went to high school because his accent was so strong. Because it's not like now when you talk with an accent, people think you're so cool and all that. Back then, people ridicule you like, what? What are you talking about? What? Speak English. And it was because I went through that too in the 80s, and it was like, oh my God. And so Patrick Ewing was like, I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't talking to nobody. And that's just it. So I felt the same way too. And then I started adopting the New York accent, like, yo, man, what's up? What's good, man? What's up? I started adopting that really well, man. So I talk like a straight New Yorker. Yo, what's good, son? What's happening? And I had to go through all of that, man.
sorry, I mean,
Yeah, for real, man. Like on the ship, people like, where you from? I say, yo, from New York, bro. What's happening? What's happening, man? They're like, yo, for real. So it's been a journey. Then, end up in Miami, start doing concerts and doing, got married, got divorced, became a single father really early, had to fend for my kids, had to fight above and beyond to get my kids, man. And I know a lot of struggles that single fathers go through. I experienced all that. And in the midst of doing that, doing major concerts, and got caught up with some other situations, got in trouble, had to leave my kids, went away, had to fight through that, come back home. It's been a journey. I can safely say I've been through it all. There's nothing that surprises me anymore. Nothing. I've been there, done that.
No, I understand. At what point did you start to come up with this epiphany where you wanted to write a book about your life? When did that happen for you?
To be honest, I never intended to write a book at all. It never remotely even come about because I've always been a very private person. And working in music, I was always behind the scenes. And I have a cousin that he passed away, Sugar Minott. They call him the godfather of dancehall music. He started a lot of reggae artists out. He accomplished great things. And after years of he and I talking and all that, and I started working with him, he started telling me about a lot of his accomplishments. Like reggae artist that ever toured Japan, first reggae artist to actually hit the Billboard, the British charts, #2 on the British charts with a cover song he did of Michael Jackson. And a whole bunch I was like, yo, you need to write a book. And he was like, nah, he don't want to do that. I'm like, yo, you need to write one. And I convinced him to do it. And then he passed away. So that was 2010. And then I went on and I met Mr. Angelo Ellaby, Double Exposure. And we were talking. And after we got to know each other more, he was talking about my heritage. He said, you're Jamaican? I said, yeah. And I started mentioning some things to him. And then he was like, and I started talking to him and he said, why don't you write a book? I said, man, I'm not going to do that. And he was like, yo, you should. And basically from there, he put it in my head and he never stopped pounding on me until I ended up doing it. So it was like, so I give him a lot of credit for actually putting this together. So, but basically my life story is in this, but when you read a book, you realize that I never dwell on any one topic too long. So I skimmed through a lot of things. Like, it's not like people would see me talking about the military all this time. I just did that because I have chapters like from Jamaica, the New Jersey, then the military, then California, then I started skimming through different aspects of my life. So there's a lot of openings that I could do another book if I chose to, or I could do a takeoff of this book, whatever it is. It's open for a lot of different things, though. But I never stayed on any one topic too long. I just went through it, and I especially talk about my life, my father not being there, and then me being there for my sons, especially because I know how important it is for Black fathers to actually be there for their Black sons. That's a major thing, and it was always the thing in the forefront of my mind, to make sure I was always there for my sons. And I told someone recently too, the Super Bowl just passed, and Snoop Dogg posted on his Instagram when Patrick Mahomes and his dad hugged in an embrace, and Snoop Dogg wrote, "It's always better when your dad is around." And I was like, you know what? But all these things come in my head now, when it seems like it's just one of those things when you know that, being you have to try no matter what it is. Because in the book, I talk about the obstacles I faced with my other son, being his mom took him away and all that stuff that goes on. So it's been a roller coaster, though. It's not easy, tell you that much.
Right. And I'm thankful to the God that you're still here, because you're a true testament of what strength and endurance and faith and loyalty and calmness and not surrendering to this reality. Because you're right, it's so much going on as a Black man. You have to fight. Not only we fighting a male gender war, we fighting women battling with our own people. Like it's you never get the rest. Even when it seems like you're having a good time, you're right, you're still always on guard and waiting for something next to pop off. So
This is true. Because even when I got in trouble, and I never threw anybody under the bus. Like, I guess the new thing now, everybody talking about people snitching and all of that stuff going on and all that. And it's a big thing all over, all these artists and stuff. I'm from the old school. So basically, as much as I could have done stuff like that to get myself out of trouble, and I talk about that in the book, it didn't make any sense to me. And I said, a matter of fact, even when people were saying, "Oh, this dude was saying this and this," I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I would rather, and I told the authorities, I wanted to get into it. Most of the book, you get the book, you see what I'm talking about, and you read it. I said, man, I would rather do whatever it is, but I'm not gonna do that. Not what y'all want me to do. I'm not gonna do that. I'll roll with what it is. It's my problem. I'm gonna deal with it, and I'll come out of it some way, somehow. Because initially, I thought my life was over. At that point, I'm like, man, I'm done. Oh my God. It wasn't easy. Trust me, it wasn't easy. So I can understand how some people can look at life differently when they get in trouble and they said, man, but I gotta just hold it. It's just one of those things that, hey, you gotta just deal with certain situation that comes up in your life. And no matter what you do, you always stay true to yourself, man. Always stay true to yourself.
That's some good wisdom, good light. Thank you for sharing that too. Let the people know where we can find your book. Where can we find you? How do we contact with you? Give us all that information.
Yeah, man. See, book Prove 'Em Wrong is available on Amazon. It's all over. You can go on my website also, www.anchorminott.com. And I'm on all social media handles, Drew Minott, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of them, same thing, at Drew Minott, DREWMINOTT. I'm there. I'll relate to people. I'll hit people back. I'll talk to you, whatever it is. I'm open for all conversations, man.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that too as well. You're definitely a strong light in the universe, and we really appreciate you coming on the show today. We don't want to take too much of your time. Is there a message
Thank you.
leave out there for the people, whether it be your family, friends, or whomever?
Yeah, to everybody out there, man, that's hearing my voice, that read this book, just understand that no matter what people tell you can do, you can do. And you can prove everybody wrong. And I've always said this, there's all these celebrities, these famous people, everyone went through something that was raw, tough, everyone. But it's up to you, yourself, to actually fight through that and overcome it. because nobody life is a bed of roses, no matter where you look at it. You know, and everybody will doubt you someplace, sometime, somehow. It's always going to be that. Oh, that's what they call doubters back in the 80s. They call them haters now. But, you know, it is what it is, man. You got to overcome that. And you can't let that stop you, no matter what it is. What's up? What's up? I'm on My Celebrity Life, man. My boy Ge.Holla, man. Holla at him, man.